Whenever you think about the fantasy genre in Manhwa, you usually think about kingdoms, slimes, goblins, etc. And that's fair, because most of fantasy manhwa is literally like that. But people usually forget that legends, myths, even ghost stories are technically also fantasy manhwa. And the reason people forget this is because there's not many stories like this. So when I found this story, I was kind of a little bit hesitant to read it, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I love the generic fantasy setting. But surprisingly, this manhwa was kind of very easy to get into, because there's a certain trope that eased my way into it. And that trope is none other than the system. And also, who could forget, the resurrection of the Demon King. Now, wait. I know this sounds generic as fuck, but gotta hear me out on this. This is a ghost story. Technically, ghost stories. Now, this story all starts with a normal high school student. And this student transferred to another high school, which is also normal, presumably. So he enters the classroom and just everyone minds their own business. No one really comes up and greets him or introduces themselves. Everyone is just silent and talking to the people next to them. As the main character sits down, the system pops up. The system basically welcomes him to the school and tells him to uncover the secrets of the school, and also fight against ghosts and legends, and also gather comrades. And so far, this is very confusing, because the school seems very normal. And also, who in their right mind just like, oh yeah, system window shows up, that's normal. So the main character just thought he was hallucinating, or maybe just played too many games yesterday. Then suddenly, there was an announcement saying that there was basically a blackout and every student should go to the courtyard. And the main character is still trying to figure out what the hell is in front of him. But he decides to go to the courtyard anyway. In the courtyard, the principal starts welcoming new students to the school, and everything seems pretty normal so far, except for the status window. But then suddenly, the principal's face starts puffing up to the point that it absolutely explodes. But looking up at the podium, no one can actually see what the hell is going on. All they just saw was the principal falling down, until one of the teachers goes up and checks what the hell happened. And as soon as she realized what happened, she started screaming to call 911. But then suddenly, every single teacher around the principal, their face started puffing up and exploded. Then the students realized, this is fucking insane, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So everyone starts running for their life. And the first thing they think of is to head straight to the gate and get out of here. But that didn't really matter anyway, because it was spreading rapidly like a virus. But it didn't really matter anyway, because when they got to the gate was closed. So some of the students ran towards the guard to ask for the keys. But the main character did not have time for that. He had to jump over the wall. But even after he jumped over the wall, it was too late. The thing, I don't know what the hell it is, caught up to him and his face exploded. And then he went to the previous checkpoint, kind of like regressing. And that was basically the first chapter. And I don't really usually go past the first chapter, but I want to show you this one scene, I guess. First of all, did you notice at the beginning of the chapter, I told you that there was an announcement from the school speakers, and the announcement was that there was a blackout. At first, I didn't really think much of that. But then at the later chapters, they mentioned the fact that how can there be an announcement when there's no electricity? And I honestly did not really think of that. So I kind of thought this was really interesting, the way the story was told. Secondly, this story is basically about ghost stories and legends. I already told you this in the beginning. And also specifically how to solve or get rid of these ghost stories or legends. But one specific ghost story that I found really interesting was called The Laughing Women or Smiling Women. And it basically says that if you see a very tall woman who kind of looks weird and is smiling all the time, as the name suggests, all you have to do is basically feign ignorance and basically try as hard as you can to not acknowledge her existence. And she will literally kill anyone who acknowledges her. So even if the main character doesn't acknowledge her existence, all the other students also have to not acknowledge her existence. She will kill anyone who acknowledges her existence. And honestly, the way that the main character figures out a way to basically like remove the ghost or whatever is really interesting. And I don't really think anyone can actually predict what the method they used were, unless obviously you read the chapter that was before this. But otherwise, you wouldn't. All in all, I think the story is really interesting. The art is good, and I really hope that this story continues and hopefully has a fun ending. I also kind of forgot to mention the name of the manhwa. The manhwa is called Ghost Story Club, but I usually anyway always mention the name of the manhwa in my descriptions or even sometimes the comment section. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you.